A lot of you said this is your first time. Just something to iterate before you dive into the quality framework in your own time. It does consist of 9 elements. There is a rubric that describes how you can achieve all of these different elements within your course design and delivery, and it's a lot. So please go into it with a +1 strategy in mind as you delve into the framework after the session today. And that is identifying just one thing that you'd like to change in your classes or one element that you'd like to implement. And as you're doing so, while I have the opportunity to explain here, I would love to get your feedback on how you're finding implementation of the elements as well. But we can talk more about that later. So on your screen, you should see background and context. Oh, sorry, before that, Jamboard. And shall we just jump into the Jamboard first and then we'll go into talking about the quality framework?
Yep, we can jump into the Jamboard. So I'm going to share a link to the Jamboard to the group. 1 second. There it is.
And let us know if you have any trouble with accessing that link. But the question on the page for you is, how do you structure your course? In particular, what's on your navigational menu? You can list out the items that you feel are important to include or share a screenshot of your left-hand navigation menu at this time if you're feeling brave. So take a moment, perhaps we'll give you 3 or 4 minutes to populate this Jamboard. Meanwhile, do let us know if you have trouble accessing anything or if you have any questions. You should find the link in your chat box. All right, so I'll mute my mic and we'll come back in about, well, just a few moments. So Mary, thanks for that. Can't edit. And is it possible to to change the settings so that we can?
Yes, sorry about that. Try that second link I just posted. I noticed that I posted a viewing link versus the sharing link.
Brilliant, thank you.
If you don't mind refreshing, it should be good now.
I've just test run a little post-it there, so you should be able to populate something there. And we have our first screenshot. Thank you for that. I'll just remove my post-it. It's always so interesting to get a little tour inside your learning management system. So thank you for those who are sharing your screenshots and other ideas and post-its. I'll give it a few more moments for you to get your ideas on here. And just notice the similarities, and perhaps there is some variation between these navigation menus as well. So if you've posted yours, maybe take a moment to browse some of the others. Think about the titles as well. So I see weekly class materials, discussion boards, assignments. That seems to be a common one throughout. I see links to Seneca resources, class group chat. That's a great one. Thank you so much for sharing these. Please do keep them coming, but just in the interest of time. And perhaps we shall move on. And if we have time at the end, we can always come back to this and have a little bit more of a discussion. So you do have that link. Keep that link handy and carry on contributing for the next moment or so. And you should see in front of you the background and context slide. And I'll speak to this for just a moment. And meanwhile, if you can multitask, you're welcome to carry on contributing to the Padlet. Sorry, to the Jamboard. Okay, so this is some information about how the quality framework came to be. And so I'd like to give you some background and context and give you a sense of how and why we created this framework. And essentially, the pandemic shifted so much over this past year, pushing us beyond our comfort levels as we transition to fully remote learning, emergency learning, online teaching and learning, whichever terminology you're using to best reflect your unique experience of this. And for us at the Teaching and Learning Center, it also provided us with an opportunity to critically examine the support and resources that were already in place and to really reflect on their usefulness and effectiveness and what their impact might be, to really consider that third piece as well. So although we did have a quality framework before this, and those of you who took the fundamentals of online course design and delivery course with us would have come across this, we wanted to move towards a more comprehensive approach to facilitate online teaching and learning at Seneca and to really support this as well. So, in order to do that, we wanted to start with something that we might lean on from the research literature about quality teaching and something to really guide the structure of this framework. And here, what you'll see on the screen, I was particularly drawn to this dynamic model of educational effectiveness. And overall, this model provides a really wholesome approach to school and system improvement. However, when you have a moment to browse through the quality framework in your own time, you'll notice that we've adapted this model to focus on the elements that aligned with our context at Seneca and some of the research on teaching and learning in virtual environments. So within the circle, you'll see some of the elements that will seem familiar to you as you're going through this framework and the rubric, and you'll see why we've placed certain things in certain places in there as well. And before we move on to, well, today we'll just focus on the first two elements, so structuring and orientation of the virtual space. And before we do that, I'd like to provide you with an overview of what that rubric is, since a lot of you said this was your first time coming into contact with that. So a colleague of ours, Alex Venice, has created a short video that sort of walks you through it and explains the 9 elements of the framework. So Anne will play the video for us, and we'll take a moment to watch if there's any questions coming in. That can be your time to ask questions or finish populating the Jamboard. So there's a few things that you can be doing as we're watching this together.
Teaching and Learning Center has created a new and comprehensive quality framework which aims to help faculty design and deliver high-quality online courses. This framework will contribute to consistent course delivery across the college, which improves student learning. The quality framework is divided into 9 sections, each addressing a different aspect of teaching. Faculty can use the guide to assess their courses to identify strengths and areas of improvement. The guide also includes ideas for faculty to adapt, implement, and be inspired by. The sections are orientation of the virtual space, structuring the online course, accessibility and legal responsibilities, assessment strategies for a virtual environment, engagement and communication in a virtual space, equity, diversity, and inclusion, universal design for learning, the virtual classroom as a learning community, management of time online. Each of the 9 sections includes a written description which provides an explanation and rationale for each section. Each description is followed by a set of guiding questions to help faculty connect the theory to their own practice. Each section has a rubric. The rubric breaks down each section into smaller, actionable subsections. The rubric scoring system will help faculty clearly identify areas to improve and areas of strength, as well as get a sense of their course's overall effectiveness. And finally, there is a website where each section and subsection has a more in-depth treatment. This is where faculty can find more information about each topic, suggestions, resources, ideas, tips, and instructional documents. We hope that this framework will help faculty to improve their own courses, give them inspiration where needed, increase the consistency of course delivery, and contribute to a community of practice at Seneca that is grounded in industry-recognized best practices. Find all the resources for the quality framework on the Teaching and Learning Center employee intranet. It is found in Faculty Resources in the Hybrid Online Development section.
So that video was created by Alex Venice, who very kindly did that for us. And and it was just meant to provide you a little bit of an overview. If there are any questions, please keep them coming in the chat box. But what you see in front of you now are the 9 elements that comprise the quality framework. So just to pause here out of interest and just to gauge what you're curious about, is there any particular element that you see here on the screen that you're curious about or that you'd like to dive into a little bit more when you have a chance to look at the quality framework in your own time? Let me know in the chat box what you're most curious about diving into. I think I'm curious about that as well. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to take a good look at what you see in front of you. Engagement, assessment strategies, time management, structure and engagement. Okay, thank you for your feedback coming in. I'll give you a few more moments. And a lot of variety here I'm seeing. Okay, brilliant. Thanks for that. And I think what we'll do, is we'll keep it on this slide as I talk about structuring and orientation. But what we'll do next is maybe give you, as Anne explains the activity we have in mind, we'll give you maybe 5 minutes just to browse through and read through those particular sections for today. All right, brilliant. So as I said, we'll be focusing on the first two elements, orientation and structuring. And these elements relate to how we might lay out our learning management systems in an organized manner, how we relay information to our students, where we house important course materials, resources, and announcements in a user-friendly way. And a lot of what Dr. Alice Kim said this morning resonated with me as we worked on the framework as well. So keep those things in mind, particularly what students appreciate in terms of the consistency and clarity within our learning management systems that can often get so messy. You'll also see from the rubric that we didn't intend to be too prescriptive in our approach. So we do appreciate that quality can take different forms within a learning management system, and you would have seen a variety of that on the Jamboard itself. We do ask, however, for careful consideration of a few components that we've highlighted in those particular sections. And as we move into this next part of our workshop, you'll have a chance to evaluate some of the things, some of the learning management systems, and generate some discussion about what you see. And Anne will guide us through that activity. But for now, I'm going to copy and paste that link again. And if you have it with you, please take maybe 5 minutes to scroll through just the first two sections of that rubric, structuring and orientation. And we'll give you about, and do you think 5 minutes is appropriate, or should we do a lightning around less than that?
5 minutes should be good.
Okay, so we'll give you 5 minutes. I'll mute my mic. We'll come back in 5 and we'll talk about those two sections and Anne will guide us through the activity. Meanwhile, of course, any questions are more than welcome. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you in 5. Can you hear Pete singing in the background?
I do not.
Him and Ellie.
Oh,
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
welcome back.
That was short and sweet.
All right, let me double check that everyone is back. Okay, it looks like everyone's back. All right, so I hope you all had great discussions during your group. I know it's kind of short and you probably all had a lot of comments about the screenshots and what you would suggest to Professor Ted in terms of how he can improve his messaging or his course structure and orientation so that students have a better online learning experience. So let me move some windows around. Okay. So in terms of orientation of the virtual space, in regards to the welcome message, the course navigation, and instructor information, there are a few ways that you can make improvements to this. One is provide a document either in a Word doc or PDF. I highly recommend both just to give students the option to either use Word document or PDF. You can use a Word document to post your timeline, more information. You can use it to post a welcome message. It doesn't necessarily have to be posted in using the Blackboard interface. It's whatever you feel more comfortable with. You can also do an introductory video if you're more courageous. With an introductory video, it gives your students a moment to kind of see who you are and kind of get a more personalized experience with their course. You can do screencasting of the course navigation. So from your point of view, you can use screencast to showcase the menu on the left side and click on various items and narrate what they can find in those particular sessions. Sometimes students prefer to watch a video. It's easier for them to see and kind of try it out themselves at the same time. There's another thing that we call liquid syllabus, and I will let Arushi go into in more depth about the liquid syllabus in a bit. But you can use Google Sites to create a liquid syllabus. It might be a bit more challenging to use Google Sites, but if you have the time to, it's a great tool that you can use. It makes it more appealing. As some of you know, it's the welcome message that I shared earlier was not appealing at all. All right. Arushi, do you have any comments about the liquid syllabus? Oh, she's posted in the chat.
Yeah,
So she said, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Anne, I would just direct you towards the guide and take a look at some of the examples. There are so many to look at, all sorts of different formats, but really the idea of a liquid syllabus is it's more of a living document that students can engage and interact with rather than the PDF formats that we're so accustomed to. So just think about that, and in the interest of time, and I'll just let you finish and we'll wrap up. Thank you.
Thanks, Arushi. So I will show you an example of a course, also a demo course that has a number of menu items here that direct students to specific areas of the course, even items that they might find more convenient to look for example, the academic integrity and plagiarism badges that many of the students have to complete. There's also an item here, ask a question. There's a link to the Zoom classroom when the professor holds the synchronous sessions, other resources down here. And here's an example of a welcome message that the professor here wrote. There's also a link to the course website, and this is where he created the liquid syllabus. So in this welcome message, as you noted, there's a nice welcome heading here. Information about himself, a couple lines about the course, as well as his contact information. So if I go to this website, oh no, there's an error there. It was working the other day, so I am sad that it's not working. So maybe Arushi, if you can grab that link from Alex, maybe he has it available for us. But other than that, he's also created a video here and posted it where he shared the getting started section of the course. And I will play the video quickly. All right, that's a quick snippet of the beginning of the video. You see here that his video is on, so it shows students what he looks like and makes it a more personalized experience for them. Under Meet Your Prof, he's posted his picture again. I know a lot of you are a bit concerned about posting a photo or a bit shy, but that's okay. You can post like a cartoon image of yourself. That's more than enough as well. You don't have to post a real photo like he has. But here he's made a very welcoming message about himself, just to give students an idea of who he is before they start the course. In terms of course information, he posted a link to the syllabus, a link to the course outline, a description of what the lecture formats are going to be like for this particular course, as well as some helpful tips and links. And let's see. All right, so I'm going to pop back over to the presentation. So in terms of structuring the online course, some solutions is, again, you can use an interactive video, make sure your content's up to date. So one thing that you may want to check before the semester starts is your timeline, update the dates in the timeline. Review your content for any broken links, just like you saw earlier. There was a broken link in the sample that I want to show you. You want to review the dates and grammar for clarity as well. and check the discussion forum. Make sure the old posts are removed so that new students that are in your course aren't seeing the old posts. In terms of questions and feedback, you can use the discussion forum for this. This is a very common tool, but there are other ones as well. You can also create an informal survey. This will allow you to kind of gauge what the students are looking for in your course and what they need more assistance with. And you can make it anonymous so they feel more comfortable completing the survey.
Thank you, Anne. And if there are any questions at this time, please do keep them coming as well. But however, if you have no questions, you're welcome to start going into your last workshop of the day. And we look forward to hearing you as you engage with the quality framework more. Please let us know what your experiences are like, because we do want to carry on improving the documents for you.